What's going on, everybody? Yeah, just want to get on here and bring everybody back to now. Appreciate y'all being here and vibing with me for a bit. Yeah, I just wanted to really kind of bring to your attention like the fear of the unknown and how to start really facing that fear, that resistance that starts to come. Ultimately, you really don't have to do anything to kind of like, oh, what do I need to work on next? Whatever is really presenting itself in the moment is kind of what we work on. The thing about kind of listening maybe to like spiritual teachers or law of attraction types or the law of assumption and the manifesting kind of vibe is really kind of, I feel like, is a stumbling block, at least for me, is getting, projecting in the future, imagining in the future always going to be better than the present moment. And really looking to let go of a lot of those beliefs, realizing that stuff has already been planted. It's going to come whenever it's in God's timing. It doesn't really matter. There's a flow to what's going on, and the flow is ever expanding, more abundance, joy, peace, prosperity, health, and realizing that more and more so as it's already happened. It's like it's just about faith is now. It's like you already have been blessed with all these things and receiving more material shit to move around, more complexity, more convolution, more shit that you have to manage, and you got to deal with this and deal with that. If your mindset is not if you aren't feeling good right now, that's the only time you can feel good. So really moving in a direction to increase your faith, to start building that feel goodness right now. That's really important, to start making that shift from the future is going to be better than the present moment, even though the manifested in the present moment is the past confronting you in the present moment again. So it's like the future becomes brighter as you start to realize the shit that you're dealing with now. You have everything you have to work on in a tangible form in front of you right now. It's almost like I don't know if it's an error, but it's just something I kind of deal with, is like this idea that I need to obliterate. And I think it's kind of maybe a stumbling block for me, is like, oh, I just want to completely obliterate what I've done and start over from a clean slate where like everything's like the Matrix, and everything's just like popping like that, instead of really just staying in flow and looking at everything as really the max of what I'm able to really handle at this particular juncture in space-time or whatever, this realm, and looking at everything as now I can build upon it and start expanding what's already there, because until I do, it's going to keep confronting me in the present moment, and this kind of the past not going away to oblivion, but circling back in the moment, which basically shows you like a big mirror what your assumptions, your beliefs, everything that you hold on the inner is being basically symbolically expressed outside of you, and it's through your own inner guidance system where you start to understand what the meaning is behind these different things. But like for me, really focusing more and more on what's unfolding right now. Does this thought feel good? Does this belief that's appearing, does it feel good, or does it feel constricting? And realizing even in that process, just by feeling it in the heart, the constricting, you automatically then know the desire opposite. So looking at everything as happening beneficially for part of a awakening process, that everything that is going on in this present moment isn't some big chaotic mess that was just like some accident and it just needs to be completely thrown out with the bathwater. It's just kind of like looking at everything and like, okay, well, this is the best I did as the old man, and it's okay. I don't need to. Nothing's too screwed up for God to fix. It's a process now of realizing, for one, having inner peace now and just appreciating and being thankful, mainly because every time that you get into scarcity or kind of a desire that you wish you had that you weren't experiencing right now, what's that saying is that you're identifying with the lack of it. And until you stop basically having that same lack kind of cycle popping off, where it's like, what's the deal at the store? What's this I can't give $1 for that because I just I just don't feel like it. It's like it'd be nice to do. I kind of feel good thinking that it'd be nice to do. That feels good. That kind of aligns with my inner being, but these are all things to jump into in the present moment. It's really taking that active leap of faith, because it's always happening now. So it's like having this future vision. I'm not saying, don't get things twisted. The future vision for me is, heaven, heaven on earth, and heaven unfolding more and more so in the present moment as this thing is just the veil becomes lifted, and you just expand into the new life and the new kind of flow of existence, I guess. But but that's just my kind of vibe. It's just, this is where I'm at the particular state of being. It's like I could get some inspiration next time you see me. I could be expanded in a new direction, because every time you kind of get a different perspective, your vision kind of changes along with it as you kind of see new opportunities and new what's possible. And like for me, really kind of what's been presenting itself a lot in the present moment has been like pain in the body. And so, like in the past, the old man beliefs were from like just kind of experience and kind of walking that out and seeing, the doctors like told me for, my pain issues that really there's not much you can do. If it hurts, don't do it. That was like the extent of it. And they say when you're old enough, you can, get some of these joints replaced or whatever. And like that was kind of the end of it. It's like then not much we can do medically. And so it's just like, go deal with it, and if it hurts, don't do it. Well, now after, I don't know, 20 years of that, really kind of reflecting on like the skateboarding years when I was active and really putting a lot of, new vision on, it's not hurting because, I'm pushing the limit and it still feels fine, and, pushing it and falling and healing, recovering from just injuries from skating, skateboarding. You start to get into a flow that a lot of times you almost can lose track of if you aren't kind of stewarding what you have, and the experience, everything you have to expand, you already have it. So it's like really all the tools, all the perspectives, all the knowledge that you have, your life experience, what all these things that can make you unique. It's going to unfold in a way that uses all of those things, and so like for me, when it comes to expressing faith, I'm pretty actively doing things, but that's not to say that others that have a different philosophy of maybe just let it be, it'll come to you. I'm not saying they're wrong either. I mean, I think we're both right. I think whatever your faith is, it really is what you experience. But, I'd be open to listening to stuff like, I like listening to other people that are uniquely expressing themselves and pushing the limits of either, consciousness or the body or skills. A lot of these types of things have a lot of you can almost say unconscious patterns that maybe people don't really realize they're kind of going with this flow, but they're doing it in a unique way. And in that unique way, you can kind of see what's possible then for you, because whatever somebody else is doing, you can do too, because we're all connected. We're all just expressing different aspects of love, ultimately mirroring these things and like growing each other's faith by like can you imagine the first person to swallow a sword? Honestly, that had to be can you imagine like the mindset of that guy or girl, whoever did it the first time? Somebody did it the first time without any evidence that that'd be okay to do. But then that seed gets planted, and now it's like, I can swallow 6 of them, and they got a whole I find that really fascinating, to push the limits on things like that and to be on that leading edge of what's possible. And so like for me and just my experience, it's like, if we got some first tangible healing evidences, and like I just wanted to share that with you guys so that when you're in that void period, because there's like a time where you're facing a lot of resistance when you're moving in a totally different kind of paradigm of thought. And not to sit there and battle with the resistance, realize that all of it's a healing process to align to a more joy and love and peace and expansion right now, really owning the stuff that you've picked up along the way and not just throwing it away. But, it's like for me with like, I don't know, like entrepreneurial things, it's like, I get that, like the mindset of just like grinding and doing it and banging it out. It's like, I know that does work. but is there an easier way to do it? Is there a way you can do it, peacefully and flow, experiencing a lot of love and joy and peace, and not headache, frustration, want to pull your hair out, getting ulcers, getting sick, freaking out every time you hear a ding on your phone? It's like exploring maybe a better way to do it, a less resistant way and more of a fun, flow-based way. And being living like a living proof example of that. But like one of the things I know, just from my kind of experience is like when you work out, there's like a period of time where there's not the tangible result yet. It's like maybe if you're going on a diet or something, and it's like, okay, well, I changed my the way I'm eating, kind of exercising more, really kind of focusing on extending love to the body. That very helpful to start doing that. It's like, it's okay if you see something that it's like, oh, I want to grow that in a different direction. I want to mold that and shape that, or experience something different. But don't start like criticizing yourself and like hurting yourself. Like, oh, I need to lose weight because I'm so ugly. I don't like this about me. I don't like that. Oh, people don't like me because of those kind of that's not helpful. And in a lot of ways that's who you're not. So use that, because that'll make you feel like shit. When you're listening to that guide, you'll feel the fear, you feel the constriction, you'll feel the negativity on the inner man, or the inner being, in that inner torment, I guess. Is just a really strong indication of like, hey, that does not resonate with what God thinks about you. It's like when it feels good, it's you're coming into alignment with you're coming into alignment with your new life, with your new connected nature between you and God within you. That energy, that inner being that you can start to feel more and more so now as you just let go. As you let go of the resistance that starts to bubble up and you feel that. But like, in growing your faith, like for like this example, I started stretching, which I hadn't been doing. I hadn't been probably for years, honestly. Like I kind of do physical jobs and stuff like that. I go on the bike ride really to extend love to my joints, because I feel like I'm kind of just doing the complete opposite. In a lot of ways, there's some resistance and fear of like, I could be damaging myself, I could be hurting myself, and I could just be making it worse. So I'm not really, saying, hey, you guys should try this too. I'm just experimenting on my own being just because I can, and I don't need somebody else's okay, you can do that. I don't need that kind of whatever, that external thing. I'm just experimenting, exploring, and like so the opposite is really feeling the pain, but instead of like the fear thought of like, oh shit, I'm just hurting myself, I'm making it worse, beating that drum of like, oh, I'm frail, I'm fragile, oh, I'm a snowflake that gets damaged so easily. Letting go of that kind of mentality and just recognizing that spirit healing that area. I just need to get out of the way of it. Just allow whatever's happening to happen without resisting and fighting and holding on to it, and just allowing the healing that's natural to be more and more present. And it's almost like you take your attention away from it and you keep your attention on whatever's in your present moment awareness. Feeling good is a good direction. Releasing, letting go, letting your consciousness float like a cork in water as the resistant thoughts of like, oh, well, that's not how things work. You need to take a bunch of pills, and you need to, all these former beliefs of resistance that are holding you at that level. You just don't even sit there and battle with them if you can allow the thoughts to come and just pass without getting triggered by it. But if you are getting triggered and you start spinning out, and all of a sudden you start feeling bad, don't even worry. The sooner as you realize you can't screw this up, the better, because all of those examples of what you're not, and when you're feeling like shit and you're just automatically just experiencing the almost unconsciously the opposite of what you want, is planting seeds of desire of what you do want unconsciously. So it's like, even if you do get triggered for a while, realize that God's made a perfect process where you're just kind of learning how to walk and ride and use it. But the flow of it's already good. It's all good. You don't got to worry about it. And a lot of times, when you start moving in this new direction, there might be a buffer period where everything kind of feels the same, and it feels like what you're doing is almost in vain. But keep moving past that, because then as you let go of that and just almost visualize it as planting like a seed, where you don't need the instant manifestation to you don't need to sit there and just watch the plant grow. It's like okay, well, all that drama I just had in my own mind, that lack of faith, that doubt or whatever, a lot of that just showed me what I'm not. And so I'm just going to keep pursuing. I'm going to keep persisting in this, and I'm not going to let this dissuade me. It's like doing stretches. I like kind of getting on these tangents, but it's like I was able to touch my toes for the first time in years. And like there was almost like this resistant thought of like, oh, you feel your legs stiffening up. It's just you're just getting older. You're getting stiffer. Or you don't got as much time till you got to figure out how you're gonna have to hire somebody to do these physical jobs. You won't be able to do that kind of bullshit going on in the mind. And it's like, meanwhile, I'm getting the small, still voice, like just extend love to it, and ultimately just step away and just allow the healing just to reimagine, reinterpret what's happening as a benefit. So it was like I'm going on this bike ride, and I was real energized because I was able to touch my toes, and I think I've been stretching for maybe a week and a half. I don't really remember. It's all kind of blurred together, and I didn't really think of it as being that big of a deal to remember how long I've been doing now, just because I just know through experience that if I start stretching, it'll eventually get stretched. I'll eventually be able to do it. Holding on to that nugget of faith from just past experience, and not to say that it couldn't miraculously instantly happen. All things are possible, but just building on with the toolbox that I already have instead of trying to reinvent everything. It's like, okay, well, I know how to plant a tree, so I don't need to confabulate and make it super complex and hard. A lot of this is just letting go and just going with the flow of what's easily, your natural state, and float in your consciousness until the things that you desire start unfolding in the present moment, because it's always unfolding. You're either experiencing everything is either one thing or the other thing. So it's like you're either experiencing, I don't know, health, or you're not. It's like there's not really an in between. It's like, and there's, a spectrum from either side of the damn thing. But like, but the thing of it, you keep asking for health, and it's like, oh, I got pain in the body, I got sickness, and this is stuff I'm dealing with. It's like, oh, you keep asking for the pain to go away, you keep resisting it and fighting it. Well, now you're just making it into this whole thing to battle. It's this big mental story that's going on, and it's like, just keep extending love, and it's just getting better and better. Start telling yourself that story, that it's just getting better and better and better. That it's just, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to see even more improvement. I'm going to see even more. I'm going to feel it even more. It's like I'm going to see the abundance that I have. I'm going to be thankful for what I got, because I'm not in scarcity. I am in abundance and prosperity and health, and all these positive things, and that's just going to continue to grow, in the now, because the past that's been cycling back and cycling back and cycling back is the future. It's all one thing. It's like, so until those new seeds start popping up in the present moment and cycling with the new harvest of consciousness of the new man, it's like you got to pluck out this old shit, that keeps popping up in these patterns, and it's like, oh, what do I need to work on? It's like, I don't know, what's keeping you from feeling as good as possible, better than you've ever felt right now. That's what it is. And so it's like, use that and go, oh, it's that easy. I can just start moving in a new direction. It's like, well, yeah, if you've been experiencing what you don't desire, what you do desire already exists. The problem and the solution's the same thing, and it's automatically happening, and you don't got to keep working and striving and struggling. You're under grace. God loves you, and God's got the new life for you. Let it unfold, and just continue to just believe and grow your faith with what you already have. and stand in that void for however long, until that seed starts to come up. Because soon, once you take that first step in actively growing your faith, then it's like the stuff that starts hitting your day to day, it gets better and better, because it's like, oh, you've already plucked through this crap. You've already dealt with it. It's not recycling over and over in these Groundhog Day loops. You're not meeting the same person over and over again. And a big part of that is using the tools that you already have, and standing with the faith that you do know. So it's like, okay, well, you know from past that when you're working out, there's a time period, there's a delay from the imagine what you're trying to achieve physically and a result. And that some people can start seeing results fast because it's all based on your faith, and it's like how much your effort is matching what you believe you need to do, and really trial and error, seeing, it's like, oh, I've been working out for like my arms for like 3 weeks, and I barely see any definition or anything. It's like, don't compare yourself to others, and that was like really good advice. I feel like, especially physical shit, working out. It's like David Goggins was talking about that, and I've been kind of on that kick lately, and that part of why I even went on that bike ride today, to be honest. I mean, it was cold. It was not a fun bike ride. I mean, it was snowing and the wind was blowing, and I put the chain on hard, so it's a lot of resistance as I'm doing this, and like I didn't want to do it. I put a winter hat on or whatever and some shit gloves, and it was just like, just went out and did it anyway. And at the same time, not sitting there and trying to I just want it to be warmer, trying to change it. I just tried to just look at it as perfect difficulty, just for this level, and knowing that level would be able to be experienced and grown. There'd be a come home a different person, just slightly, but more in line with who I actually am, the true, the inner, in the inner man or whatever, the new version, the new me, whatever, new you. We're all new. It's just kind of redefining, with an adult mind, I guess. So, what is possible, what's all the bullshit. Most of the stuff that the school's taught is like, there's a total other way to look at it. And, and so, really what feels good, that seems to be the best meter for me. How do you feel as good as possible, and expand on that. And there you go. And so with that being said, I just wanted to share that with you guys. If you are standing kind of in the void of like, your desire maybe being on the way or whatever, and you're standing in faith, like, I don't know if this is real. I don't know. Doubt creeps in, which causes fear, which then kind of just affects your state of being in the moment. Realize it's always now, when you're kind of getting back on track, starting to feel good again, starting to move in a new direction, that new you put it on, and it's always expanding, so it's like, get used to enjoying right now, because it's what we got, it's what we're doing, and making it now as awesome and as great as possible, always expanding to new levels of awesome and fun and enjoyment and joy and love and peace and faith, and everything's possible, and just really seeing others just take that to the next level. And look forward to and it's exciting. And so I just want to share that with you guys. And then I like to read these quote unquote random Bible verses. Nothing's random. God's 100% in control of literally everything, and speaks to us in the moment. I just want to give God a chance to speak to you, who's ever listening now. Let's see what God's got to say. Ezra 7:6-7. This Ezra went up from Babylon and was a ready scribe in the law of Moses, which the Lord God of Israel had given, and the king granted him all his requests, according to the hand of the Lord his God upon him. And there went up some of the children of Israel, and of their priests, and the Levites, and the singers, and the porters, and the Nethinims, unto Jerusalem in the 7th year of Artaxerxes the king. Okay. And with that being said, I appreciate you liking, sharing, subscribing. yeah, all the social networking things. I appreciate your support spiritually and physically. And yeah, with that being said, till the next now, God bless, and yeah, vibe high. Later.